and you can talk about this shit.
Some champion select.
All right,
All
ready to
right.
go.
Okay. So we got Trundle in the jungle. Not something you see very often, honestly. I honestly think he's better in the top lane because he's got the sustain from killing those minions, and his CC isn't that great for ganks. But if you can land a good pillar, he's better at ganking top and bottom lane than mid lane because it's hard to really zone someone out against a wall in that mid lane gank. On the other side of the coin, you have Pantheon, who's really aggressive early and much better at those early skirmishes than Trundle. So I suspect him looking for early kills and probably against the Jace, maybe in bot lane, where Trundle is still going to be scaling up. But then in top lane we have Jax versus Shyvana. Pretty easy matchup for Jax, I would say. Shyvana is going to scale better than Jax on the tanky side of things, but Jax is going to scale better with the damage. So they're both going to bring two different things to a fight. And I think with Blue Team's overall team comp with the Sivir and the Annie, really good engage potential with the move speed. What? What are you?
I'm just reading chat, and that's really funny.
Oh my. Anyway, so the engage potential with that Sivir speed up and the Annie stun will allow them to fight and engage really well. Because Shyvana's gonna be running extremely fast. You're gonna have a dragon on your face. So I don't know. Jax is gonna have to get ahead early if he wants to really make a big impact here. And then we've got for our bot lane, we have the same matchup as last game.
Yeah.
For the Vayne and the Thresh on purple team versus the Sivir and the Annie.
That Vayne Thresh worked out pretty well in the
Vayne
last
Thresh
game.
worked out extremely well last time. The Sivir's great against Thresh because you can block the hook with the spell
Defense.
shield. You can also block the flay. You can also pop the W, walk through the box. So it just really leaves a lot of counterplay there. So that's good for the Sivir. And Annie's also just great in bot lane. Thresh got his attack range reduced by 25 in recent patches.
Mm-hmm.
So that makes Annie's 625 auto range extremely important, and she'll be able to dish out spells, stun constantly. So I think this bot lane may be towards blue team's favor.
Mhm.
And
Now, here's a question. I think it's going to be Jace in the mid lane. I stalked some of these teams the other day just to see what they were practicing, and I did see Jace mid lane.
yeah,
What do you think about that?
yeah, I definitely think it's Jace mid lane. I agree with you because of Shyvana, but he is against the Ziggs, and Ziggs, as we discussed last game, has that really high poke range.
Ziggs doesn't really lose a lane, does he? I mean,
Yeah.
he either goes even or he just
Dominates.
yeah, he just dominates. So we're gonna head into game here. Let me switch this over. You can keep talking
He's-
now.
Champs with wave clear usually have a fairly safe laning phase and can be very effective roamers because they're able to push the lane and easily rotate down or up without losing much. So yes, Ziggs has insane wave clear with all his AOE's, so I think he's going to have a very safe laning phase against the Jace. Jace is going to have to be careful not to get poked down because Ziggs does have the longer range. Because Jace's E's cooldown was lengthened so that he can't launch off those empowered shock blasts nearly as often. So that does give the edge to the Ziggs. So I do suspect him to do well, but Jace can scale extremely well. His W gives him maximum attack speed for 3 autos when you're in the crossbow form or the ranged form. And so he can scale greatly. So I guess it's a very skill matchup all across the board. And this looks like it's going to be a great game.
I feel like this was gonna be probably one of our best games that we see.
Yeah, so I'm excited to see if teams have any lane swaps in mind or anything sneaky up their sleeves to mix this one up. Otherwise, it looks fairly standard. Common picks all across the board, except for the Trundle jungle.
Yeah, Trundle Jungle's a little bit of a throw up, and we just recently started seeing Jax too. Like maybe just within like the last week. I mean, you maybe seen him in a few picks here and there, but it seemed like he got a lot of picks in the EU LCS just this week. Like maybe 2 or 3 or something like that. I think.
I mean, Jax has grown in popularity and strength ever since the Triforce changes, where it's
Oh yeah.
200% now, and he gets the movement speed because he benefits fully from that because he's melee. So he's been popular, and he hasn't really gotten changed or lost any strength, while other top laners have been hit pretty hard by the Dorn Shield nerf and the Perseverance nerf from the defensive tree that gave you
Hmm.
1%. It used to give 2% mana or 2% health every 5 seconds. Now it's only 1% of missing health. So a little bit of changes of these changes have made Jax more and more powerful, and I think he should be able to bully the Shyvana pretty hard in the top lane.
Alright, looks like we're in game here. I'm gonna go ahead and just leave it on manual just for the start here. And then once the action starts, I'll start switching things over. So I always keep going back to the bot lane because it seems like whoever usually wins the bot lane wins the game kind of thing. It's become much more of a focal point in just like this recent season kind of thing. Obviously the mid and jungle is still really important. That combination in the middle decides a lot of the game. But a lot of the early jungle pressure goes down in the bot lane because if you win the level 2 in bot lane, you set yourself up for the rest of the game pretty well.
Yeah.
So, keep going.
The bot lane has always been extremely important, but the reason why is because there's a dragon right there, right next to the bot lane.
Obviously,
so if you get the kills there, or you get the advantage, get the tower, really easy rotate over to dragon. Yes, the early dragons aren't worth as much gold, but they're still worth your time. You get XP for your team. And something I see here is Annie's starting with the Spell Thief's Edge. They just recently changed it, so it actually does bonus damage. They took off some AP, but it does the bonus, I think, 10 or 15 damage to towers or champions early game when you proc one of those gold generation stacks. So it does 10 extra damage, and you get 5 gold whenever you auto or use an ability on a tower or champion. So I suspect that to work out in his favor, especially since Thresh with the Doran Shield, which was nerfed. Still a good item, but base health taken down on that as well as the health regen. It's still cost effective because it has the same block passive as it always has, but I think Annie should be able to pressure this lane unless they get caught by a well-timed hook. We see both mid laners matching with the barrier, both looking to play it safe and not die to early ganks.
Who do you think has the edge in this early, say like levels 1 through 6 or so, just in this matchup?
In this mid matchup, I definitely think Ziggs does. He's got the longer range, and Jace takes a while to scale up. He really doesn't do that.
Some early action going on in the top. Jax uses his, I think it's Counter Strike is his E. Makes him, that's a really good pickup against Shyvana too, because any auto attacks that she does, it'll cancel out her Q. Her Q does 2 auto attacks, but if he has that up, it's even big of her. It's just really cost efficient for like Jax. It's just a really efficient skill, really good against Shyvana, since she's so auto attack based. And then also he gets a free stun too, which is really good. I imagine we're going to see a lot of aggressive action here in the top lane with these two.
So he wastes the E there, but one thing to note with the Jax Counter-Strike is that this also works with like Nasus Q on Jax Counter-Strike and other abilities you use. When you use an ability on Jax while he has that Counter-Strike up, basically the auto part of the damage is negated, and the extra damage added from the spell is still there. So if Shyvana were to use her Q, her Twin Fang, I believe it's called, onto the Jax,
we got a little bit of Trundle going in for a steal right there.
Still do the base damage, but not her auto damage. So it will do some damage to Jax, just pretty much half reduced. Same with like if Nasus was to do Siphoning Strike onto Jax, it would only do the bonus damage and not his base damage.
A lot of action going on up in here in the top. It looks like Shyvana's winning out a little bit. But then again, she started with the Doran Shield and Jax started with a Flask and also Health Pots. And we also saw too over here, Trundle just walked in and straight up took the red buff from Pantheon. Yeah, Pantheon was pretty low there too.
That puts Pantheon way behind and really hurts his early ganks. And then going back to the top lane, I really don't like the Crystalline Flask start on Jax. He's really, especially against a Shyvana where you're trying to bully early, you really need all the combat stats you can get, and by going with that Crystalline Flask, you're basically throwing away all combat stats for Sustained, which...
Yeah, it's pretty much like you're just giving up the lane at the start again, like we talked about with Ori against Ziggs in that last game.
Yeah, it's just not something you like to see with an aggressive lane such as Jax against a weaker laner in Shyvana who scales well late. If she can make it through this weak early laning phase, like she has been, they're equal on CS at this point, then she's looking strong. Jax hopefully can start to build a lead, but as of now, there's not much going on there. And looks like Jace is actually winning out on this matchup pretty hard right now. He must be playing it well.
Yeah, and if we look at the top lane right here, Jax still has one stack of his flask left, and Shyvana's out of potions. So what could happen is once he probably gets level 5, level 6 or something, he might try and go for an all-in because he has that extra pot and she doesn't. She just has the door and shield, which she's going to get a little bit of a regen from that, but not a lot. So I think the longer this goes on here without any jungle pressure or anything like that, I think Jax would probably do an all-in pretty soon here, especially since he has Ignite and I don't know, he could probably get maybe just like one combo, like a quick EQ, back out, and then let the lane reset, and then go in again with an EQ and with an Ignite and try and finish that off.
Yeah, that's a good point, and it's almost always the case with the Crystalline Flask lanes that you're looking to out-sustain your opponent.
We got a Trundle coming in for a gank here. Jace is trying to do some damage. Ziggs is going to go ahead and flash out there. Pretty safe.
So really good job on Trundle. He's making this early game work. Not only did he reduce Pantheon's effectiveness greatly by taking his red buff, but he also was looking for a gank top, looking for a gank mid. He got the flash. Well,
level 4 against level 3. Trundle's going in. He's going to scare off Pantheon. He go ahead and smites that Big Wolf. They know Ziggs can't do a lot here because he's pretty low. Jace going again, helping with the damage a little bit. Trundle, great pillar there, slowing Pantheon down. They probably won't have enough to pick up a kill there. Pantheon's going to go ahead and walk away, and they're just going to go ahead and reset. And Trundle's going to go ahead and keep counter jungling here.
Yeah, really doing a gread job on this Trundle. Like I was just saying, though, he's really maximizing his effectiveness. Really
Shyvana's level 6.
Yeah, Shyvana does have the level lead because she has the wave pushing.
And Jax got to go back before Shyvana did. Jax actually went back and started picking up the items to make a phage. He picks up a ward and he restocks his Crystalline Flask. So even though he has a disadvantage in the levels right now, once he evens it up to 6-6, there's going to be a little bit of a window of opportunity where he can go in and be really, really aggressive.
And he's also getting beaten pretty hard here on CS.
And it might
go back.
It might just be because he went back, and he also has a big wave pushing in as well.
Yeah, but it's still not something you want to see against Shyvana, since she's not that strong early. If you don't punish her early, she's just going to get huge, and you don't want to deal with the Bed Dragon late game.
Now, if we look at just CS across the board, bottom lane is dead even, which is pretty surprising. You think with Sivir, with Annie having a stun and having pretty good range on it, and Vayne being such a short range AD carry, and then Sivir having a really long range, you think I would give the edge to Sivir a little bit just in that matchup. And then, like we said, we thought Ziggs was going to be ahead in the mid lane, but Jace is really holding his own here. And then also Jax going back early kind of gives Shyvana a little bit of an edge here in CS. But just overall, right around now, it's just about a 600 gold lead, which isn't really that much. Still no first blood yet. But so far, I think things are going pretty well for the blue team.
Yeah, typically, like we were talking about last game, the junglers are able to invade because their teammates are pushing the lane and able to back them up. But a little more so in case in this game is that Trundle's making the invades happen on his own, and he's forcing the laners to take more pressure because of that. And he was able to force the flash off of Ziggs and really allow Jace to get that bigger lead in mid lane, as well as Shyvana. He was coming top, and Jax had to ward his Tri-Brush.
Shyvana setting up to use her ult and Ignite. Oh, maybe not. Maybe not.
She wants it. I can see it in her eyes.
She's hungry for it. But like you said too, that Trundle, he's really kind of flipped this early game on its head. You think with Pantheon being such an early game jungler with just a point and click stun, he would have a lot more map pressure. Obviously he'll have some when he hits 6. Ziggs going here for a little bit of a counter gank, or just kind of just to get some pressure on Shyvana. She should probably be able to. She needs to get out of there. Ooh, good counter strike. Zach.
Yeah, she definitely easily picks up the first blood there. Ziggs should be able to bounce this one back with a bomb, and there it is.
Yep.
Decent trade. They do get the assist gold, but Trundle's chasing Pantheon off his red buff, and it looks like he might steal another red buff, which is so frustrating for a Pantheon to have his. Oh wow, Jace nailed the shock blast on Pantheon, sends him home nearly dead. They're really doing a good job of keeping this Pantheon down. You can tell that that's really one of their main strategies.
Yeah, that's
stay together, group up, and really ruin this Pantheon.
That's definitely one of their focus. The bottom lane, I think, is just kind of a toss-up right now. And like I said at the beginning of the game, I said usually junglers will come down there pretty early to win that bot lane matchup. But in this case, Trundle has been not focusing on the bot lane, but he's been focusing on Pantheon is what's been going on. So Pantheon hasn't been able to pressure a lot, and just a lot of action going on between Trundle and Pantheon right now, rather than the junglers with any of the lanes, other than just what we saw at the top lane there.
Yeah, this bot lane, I believe the Thresh and Vayne have been zoned off pretty hard from the range and attacks of just Annie and Sivir, so they're kind of just playing it safe at this point, farming under tower. That's why we're not seeing many kills here. He's not even really going for hooks. He's just trying to help him CS. So
Looks like
pretty
they're gonna
passive right now, but I know that blue team is just waiting it out. They've got the Sivir, they've got the team fight with the Trundle, Shyvana, and Jace just running in with a huge speed
Sivir
buff.
Trundle is
Yeah,
going to be
so scary.
Sivir Trundle Shyvana is that's gonna just sink so well because Trundle can put down his frozen domain too, and he's super fast with that as well. And then if you have an acceleration gate too, I mean that's just it's almost
the move
overkill.
speed they have to engage fights is unbelievable. They're gonna be able to do things you
Wow,
wouldn't
great
expect.
shock blast there on Pantheon. Trundle uses ultimate. They're
They're
gonna be able to
going
pick up
deep,
this
though.
kill.
They pick it up, no problem.
Make
They
it
get the
Inferno Bomb?
Shyvana back up. He flashes out.
Trundle's gonna be able to get out of there okay, which is exactly what you want. Shyvana's gonna go ahead and zone Jax off a little bit. And then there's kind of a reset right here. That's, I mean, easy kill up. They're just focusing on Pantheon,
Yeah,
and
they're
Pantheon just
still-
hasn't been able to make.
They're constantly looking to invade. Jace was there for the follow-up, so it was 2v1 at the start. Pantheon's doesn't have any tank at all on him. He got poked down to about 20%. Shyvana roamed from top before Jax was able to, so they had the 3 versus 2 mid. Ziggs couldn't really do anything. He tried his best, but Pantheon taken down for the first time, but he gave the doubles over to Jace. So now you have 2 champions with double buffs and a 2.5, almost 2,000 gold lead. 1.5.
And look at these aggressive wards too. Just in Pantheon's jungle, that's how they're getting so many picks. You have 2 wards over here, and Jace just put 1 here. So
These aren't even trinket wards. Those are the full 3
Yeah,
wards.
I mean,
really trying.
they want
fast.
complete vision on him. So when he does make his presence known with his ult, I mean they're gonna have plenty of vision for it. And here he goes. He's gonna looks like he's going in the bot lane right here. Sivir needs to ult and get the hell out of there. Pantheon's going in. She used a spell shield, I think, to block the stun. Annie's going to be able to make a good dodge on the hook there. Annie doesn't have her stun up quite yet, but that would have been a pretty good opportunity to counter-engage with the stun right there.
So what I would have liked to see there is he threw the lantern forward trying to shield Pantheon. Probably should have dropped it back to Vayne. He did miss his hook and Flay though, so there wasn't really any kill potential there. But had he thrown the lantern back to Vayne, had he landed the hook, easily could have been a kill. Good escape by blue team.
Ziggs throwing some poke down there on Jace. And we have a little bit of action, just a ward battle over here. They really want vision on Pantheon, and they know that he used his ult, so he's even more susceptible to just being pressured by Trundle now, because and the lanes they have a really big window of opportunity. The cooldown on Pant's ult's pretty long, so they have a big window of opportunity to be really aggressive in all of their lanes. Jungle has a really good window to be really aggressive as well. Kind of unfortunate that Pantheon used his ult there and didn't really get anything out of it.
Yeah, because they weren't able to land the Thresh abilities. Like it was a free escape for the bot lane. You can see near the Dragon Pit, Upper Dragon, we've got 4 wards kind of in like a square for blue team. Clearly trying to set up for Dragon. If they can make a play on that before those wards run out, then they'll definitely be worth it. But they have a growing gold lead. Well, a bit static for right now, but they're about to get mid tower, and they're really putting pressure all over the map, and I like what I'm seeing here.
A few pings go down. Looks like they're looking for Trundle right now. Trundle's in a bad spot right now. He's got Thresh and 4 people right here condensing. A pretty good concave right there. Ziggs uses his ult. They're not going to be able to pick it up with the Thresh hook. Jace goes in, jumps on Vayne over the side. He's going to be able to get that kill. Thresh is going to go down as well. Vayne's still alive over in the corner there. Tibbers got thrown down too. Vayne's still alive. This is not what you want to see, but she's going to go ahead and get out of there. Ziggs picking up a kill with his bouncing bomb right there. And Shyvana's coming down to roam a little bit. They might try and go for a dragon right here. They have 4, but Vayne and Ziggs are still here. They're going to be able to pick up a kill on Sivir. They might be able to finish off Trundle as well.
Yep, Vayne's got her passive. Right?
Shyvana might try and jump over the wall, but they need to run to Shyvana. They're running the wrong way. They got the kill on Vayne, which was good. Unfortunately, Jace dies as well. Trundle makes it out, and then Shyvana came all the way over here, and she's just running a marathon, I guess.
Yeah, pretty sloppy team fight there all around. They wanted to contest the blue buff. Trundle popped his ult on Pantheon, made it easy to take down that squishy Pantheon, and also make himself tankier. So they were able to win the fight initially, but with the kiting potential that Ziggs offers with the range, and they got a little greedy for the red side blue buff, so they were able to collapse on that.
I think Pants should have chased right there, because Shyvana flashed right from right where those bombs are to a little bit forward. And Panther had his flash. He could have flashed easily and queued and maybe got a kill there.
I mean, he had his ultimate as well. He
Yeah.
definitely could have just dropped him behind.
But she's going to go ahead and just regen a little bit. In the meantime, Jack's got a lot of free farm with Shyvana roaming and not really getting much out of it. So he gets to catch up a little, but still, he's still pretty far behind.
Another important thing to note is that it's Pantheon's O2. And pretty much every engage he's gone for this game has failed, so he's probably a little weary at this point. Scared to go in, especially without any vision. So probably why he didn't want to go for it.
Sivir going in on Vayne right here. Vayne's going to get proc her silver bolts right there, but pretty even trade right around there.
So,
Sivir already has her bloodthirster. They both have bloodthirsters.
Once again, we see the Vayne getting bloodthirster. Pretty good for the sustain. It's going to give you more health per hit than a Blade of the Rune King. But with the vision control on Dragon, once again, you can see they've got the blue wards on the left side of blue, and as well as at the wolf camp. They're safe to take Dragon, no problem. And this Trundle has done a fantastic job of controlling the jungle and really setting the tempo for this game. And I'm surprised. Maybe Red Team isn't really quite sure how to play against Trundle jungle because it's not something you see often.
Yeah, and another thing too, right now you see whenever Trundle's usually picked, it's usually top against a Shyvana or a Mundo or a Renekton, just because he does really well against tanky people, because the tankier they are, the more he can steal a lot of that tankiness from them. But a lot of people forget that when Trundle first came out, he was like the king. I mean, he was like a new level of counter jungling control, because he steals so many stats from the other jungler. The pillars, just in really tight spots, like all around here, just really clutch. He can make a lot of plays that way. And then he also has the free like movement speed with his frozen domain, which is really good in the jungle. So while Trundle top is a really popular thing right now, I completely agree. A lot of people just don't know how to play against Trundle jungle, but it's pretty much kind of the same thing. It's very similar to Nunu, where he can just be really aggressive in counter jungling and just be really annoying to deal with.
They did take away his tenacity, that is frozen domain, the big W AoE on the ground, gave to him, and now gives increased healing slightly. So that's good with the Spirit Stone items, because those do give you the healing percentages based on just attacking. So it does give him some free sustain in jungle, which I think does help him out. And he's able to get the Ancient Golem for the free tenacity, so he doesn't really need the frozen domain.
Looks like they're going for a 3-man dive right here. Trundle's going to try and pillar him in, probably. Still, no one's gone in yet. They're going to finish off the tower before. That's really smart to finish off the tower. Then they're just going to go in on Jax. Jax should have gone out there way earlier, but that's just a pretty easy kill there. Up in the bottom lane, Vayne got a kill, a double kill on Sivir and Annie right there.
So the jungler and mid laner go top for purple or for blue side, and they pick up the Jax, but really good kill bot lane by Pantheon, goes and helps out Vayne, trying to get her rolling. She's 3-1-2, definitely gathering a lot of gold. Ziggs ult is too late in top lane.
They're going to go for this inhibitor turret. Yeah. They still haven't got this turret bot. They're going to pick up almost 3 turrets for the cost of not even 1 yet.
Right now, this is just really good awareness by blue team. They're seeing they got the kill, so that's 1 person dealt with. There were 3 people staying bot. That's 4 people. That only leaves 1 left. Ziggs
Great pillar.
That's 5. Well done. They knew that they get those 2 towers. They saw the advantage of so many people not defending, and they really took advantage of that and got the maximum gain.
That was a really clutch, crucial pillar right there. Jax had his counter-strike in, and he was about to Rafflecopter his way in and stun everyone there, but Trundle just stopped him right with the pillar, so he wasn't in range to do that. That was a really good pillar. Another really good pillar right there. It's not fun to be Jax right now against Trundle.
So
it looks like they're going to try and bait this out, because Jace is going to be coming from the bottom. They want to fight this. Sivir picks up a kill on Ziggs out in the middle of... Ziggs. I don't know why Ziggs was that far in the jungle. They're going to focus Shyvana here. Trundle's going to steal some Pantheon stats. They're both force 2 flashes. Jace flashes over as well. They should be able to pick up another Jax kill. Jax jumps over to Shyvana. Great jump right there. Going for the lantern, but I think the dragon's covering it.
Yeah, the dragon and the troll way on top of that.
Great Tibbers gets both Thresh and Vayne. Jace is still going in. He's going to be able to pick up a kill on Thresh, and they're going to be able to clean Annie. They need to go for the top... Sivir's still going in. They need to go for that top inhibitor right now. They're going to get this turret for free. Pantheon doesn't have his ult, so it's not like he can come in and stop anything magically. But they need to go force this open inhibitor right here where they have all 5.
I really like the decision-making from blue team right now. Pretty much when they're making the call for someone to go in, everyone is going in together. A little bit of a
Yeah.
misplay, staying too long, giving
A
away a
little
lot
long.
of free kills back.
4 for nothing.
Yeah, 4 for. I mean, there were kills before that, so it's probably like 4 for 3. I think it was.
Yeah.
But either way, I mean, it was good decision making at first, but staying around for too long, not respecting the Ziggs pseudo global and the Pantheon pseudo global, really just taking its toll, and they
And
might give up a free tower here in mid
They
lane.
might be able to. It looks like they're going to look for Dragon. They're not going to find anything down there. But they're choosing not to go for this turret, which I think is pretty surprising. But they probably don't want to make the same mistake that the blue team just made and sticking around too long. I agree. I think after they got those kills, I think they should have swung around top and got this inhibitor. This turret is just a little bit too tanky for them. And then also just the Panth ult and the Ziggs ult and everything. Like, they could have split. I mean, I would have been okay with them splitting, doing like maybe 2 or 3 up here and 2 or 3 at the turret. Split the Pantheon and Ziggs so they both can't use both their ultimates in the same spot and pick up 4 kills like that. But yeah, just like you said, I think they stayed a little bit too long. But I would also like to see them go for this inhibitor instead, since it's already open. It was open before 20 minutes in the game.
Yeah, and those outer towers, just outside the base, or barely inside the base, I guess, those do regenerate health. So since they didn't kill it, over time it will heal up. It's not much. I think it's 3 every second. But over time, it will become healthy again. And what I'd like to see from blue team is start pressuring the bottom lane. There's still all towers up and available there. Easily could take both those. And the thing is, when you get to the second tower, on that bottom side, you can easily flank around the back and get a nice tower dive, especially with the champs they have, that Shyvana, Trundle, good pillars, and CC that they can bring in, as well as with the anti-tibbers. So I think they should siege up that bot lane, but it looks like they might just be going straight for the inhibitor.
Yeah, I would have definitely liked to see. This would have been the perfect scenario. Oh, good pillar on Ziggs right there. A lot of damage going down. He should be able to get out there. They're gonna force a fight. A little bit Tibbers just on one person on the Jax right there. Jax uses Counter-Strike. Pantheon's coming in. This is great Ziggs ult. Pantheon's coming in to clean up. Jax is still going ham. Vayne cleaning up on Shyvana over here. Jace is maybe going to make it out. Probably not within it. Jace makes it out. Trundle putting some damage on Pantheon there. Overall, 3 for 2 in favor of the purple team.
So that's why you want to go for the bot tower. They're kind of getting a little overconfident. They do have way more towers, but they're still really close on kills and in farm. So you can't really make those aggressive plays like that. They kind of grouped up and then they split up once the Pantheon came in. Luckily, Jace lived with very little health, so it was only a 3 for 2, so it wasn't like a big 4 for 2 loss. But I still think that they should take that fight as a lesson and control objectives, Dragon, and bottom tower instead of forcing that inhibitor top lane until they're confident that they're going to win the fight.
Yeah, and one really interesting thing is the blue team. They kind of have this weird hybrid pick comp right now where they have Jace, Sivir, and Annie, which is like long range poke, a lot of damage up front with the boomerang blade and the shock blast with the acceleration gate. And then they also have Trundle Pillar. That's one of the reasons why a lot of people pick Trundle and poke comps, because if you pillar right in the center of their team, it slows them all down and it's a lot easier to hit your skill shots. So it's kind of a weird poke pick comp. But what we saw in that last fight was the synergy coming through in purple team. You had Jax going in with Counter-Strike, it stunned a lot of people. Ziggs with just all of his damage is all going to hit everyone. Pantheon with a great ultimate coming in. And then just Vayne and Thresh kind of peeling for Vayne. And then with Thresh with the box too, it's really hard to be grouped up and win against a team that synergizes so well like that with just and they comboed it really well. It was one after the other. It wasn't, a lot of times you see teams like that where they just do everything at the same time and they kind of waste the potential of it. But a lot of damage going down here. Blue team looking for a lot of kills. They pick up 2, but they lose their support player in the meantime. They're going to go ahead and pick up this turret here.
So basically, you can kind of see how these team fights are playing out. Purple team is really looking for that engage, right? They do not have extremely good engage.
And they
no
lost
one
Ziggs.
has it, so they have to land the perfect E Counter-Strike into the Panthol like they did before in that last fight. But as you saw, for this fight, blue team won it with their kind of engage, which is pop Sivir ulti, run at them, slow them down with Trundle, and just go all in.
And I think they learned their lesson their last time. They're going to go ahead and leave after
They
just
did.
getting that
They're not
turret.
staying too long. They got 2 towers bot lane, and they picked up 2 for 1, or 1 for none. So, really taking full advantage and trying to be careful and not making throws here later in the game. And I think now that they have all the towers down, except for the one in the middle, They should try and pressure. They might benefit from trying a split push with Shyvana on one side. But they can almost guarantee team fight as well at this point. They're far enough ahead if they want to.
It's pretty crazy. Vayne going for the Phantom Dancer before Last Whisper again, which it's pretty hard against a Trundle that already has the Locket, and then he's on his way to Randuin's as well.
Yeah,
it's going to be pretty hard to get away from him because he has the Pillar, and then Shyvana also has a Cutlass too. So even if you have your little invisible tumbles and stuff like that, it's still going to be pretty hard to get away from a Trundle and a Shyvana like that.
Yeah, I think they're in a lot of trouble. The Shyvana's ult scales into the late game, one of the tankiest members in the game. Trundle with his ultimate can't not scale well. You just can't really hurt him, especially if he's able to steal really tanky stats from someone on your team. So I think they're going to have to find a way to deal with these huge tanky threats. And Vayne, amazing tank killer, but really doesn't have... She didn't go for the Blade of the Rune King into the Phantom Dancer build. So she doesn't have the maximum true damage scaling abilities. So the Bloodthirster, while it does more to less armored and HP targets, the true damage...
It's kind of like an assassin build with Vayne. With the Bloodthirster instead of the Blade of the Rune King, it's almost assassin. Pantheon going in for a jump here.
So they get
Jax jumps in.
A decent combo.
Looks like they're going to focus Pantheon, which I think is the right choice right here. Trundle used his ult on Jax, got a lot of free tanky stats. 3 kills picked up right there. They're going to be able to pick up Thresh, and they're going to finish. Yep, this is the ace. This should be game right here. So what a great game.
That was a fantastic game, and that's just what I was talking about. This Trundle and Shyvana are too tanky. They couldn't find a way to deal with them. They didn't have the Silver Bolts leveled up or the Blade of the Rune King, and they just got ran over. Shyvana dove in 1v3, comes out with a sliver of health, and Trundle wasn't even touched. GG.
Wow, that was a really